All right, it's all yours.
All right. So awesome to see you guys on tonight. So Shayna and I had the opportunity to go watch Kelly Norman in Salt Lake a couple weekends ago. And it is her new tour that she's doing called Leading to Leave a Legacy. And I honestly have heard Leaving a Legacy many of times on a lot of the calls that I listen to. Eric Worre talks about it a lot, and I never really truly understood it. Even when people would say like Plexus is a legacy company, it really was awesome for her to be able to explain to me. Gosh, it was nuts. I wish my kids would have been there. I wish that I would have gone to listen to her before my kids were as old as they are now, so that I could have maybe been a better leader for them, but it's never too late, right? So she taught us a lot of great lessons on how to identify who we are and how to share that with the world, so that when we do pass on, people remember like a lot of the actions that we did as humans and how we touched people's lives. And so one of the very first things that she talked about was, if you guys don't know, she's writing a book, which is going to be super cool. But in the very beginning, she talked about how as little girls, we stand in the mirror and we put on our mom's clothes and our mom's makeup and our mom's jewelry and shoes, and we spin around and we think that we're beautiful and we're so innocent and nobody has been able to tell us different, right? And pretty early on, I know mine was probably elementary, kids can be mean, and they start to break down your reality of who you were, and you start to believe untruths or what people think about you. And so she talked about a lot of things when it comes to rejection, things that can kind of like attack your identity individually. So rejection came from my peers. I had crazy hair. My mom made me look like a little boy, and I was made fun of for that. And so for a really long time, I struggled with thinking that I was pretty. They would pick me up. The boys would pick me up in 6th grade, and I had a perm. Perms were totally in style, and they were being funny, but they would sweep the leaves at recess with my hair. And it's kind of interesting how being treated like that really affects you deep down inside, but you don't realize it at such a young age, But as you get older, you start to pay attention to little things that like happened, and you're like, wow, okay, well, that could have made me not feel like I was worth a lot if they could do those little things, So there's a lot of things that can happen to us throughout our life that make us question who we are. Abuse, whether it be mental, physical, sexual. There's a lot of different areas in our life that people take advantage of us in ways that we may not even realize. I've been there, bad relationship, and I just really thought that I was doing the best that I could, and I didn't realize the attack that was happening to me personally. So another thing that can make us feel horrible about ourselves is loss or failure, right? If we fail at something, instead of looking at it in a positive way, we can really take that personally, and it can stop us from proceeding forward. And so a lot of these things are just, we're going to talk about, like, in order for you to be the best leader or the best version of you, you need to be willing to work through a lot of those issues and find that you are enough, and that the seed has been planted in you to be a great leader and to be a great friend and a great mom. And you just have to stop looking at all of those things that have held you back for so long from being the best version of yourself, and kind of learn how to work through them and know that they aren't true. That's what somebody else has put within you. So it hit me hard because I have to start believing in myself. Something that she said was, if there is anywhere in your life that isn't shimmering with hope, then you're believing a lie. And there have been parts of this journey that haven't shimmered with hope because I get defeated. I allow my brain to take over, and I start thinking all these negative thoughts instead of doing the positive affirmations and daily activities that fill my cup, I allow that to take over. And so I sit and wonder if I'm capable of making this happen, it being successful with Plexus. And so it was really interesting, but she said that you have to change your mind to believe the truth, and that the battle is all in here, which is so, so true, right? How many times, she said that the average person has 30,000 thoughts that go through their head every single day. Now that was for a man. A woman was 50 to 70,000 thoughts. Because we think about all of the little things, and we're always worried about not only ourselves, but everybody else around us also. And so I would just ask you this question, because it hit me pretty hard, but are you your biggest enemy or your biggest cheerleader? I know that I could probably say I've never been my biggest cheerleader. I have been my biggest enemy a lot, and I just have to change my programming, and I've worked on it, over the last year, and it's pretty cool to see some things change amongst that, or within that last year. But so some of the programming that she talked about is that, what do you say to yourself? Are you filling yourself with negative thoughts of like, oh my gosh, I just don't want to do this today, or I'm not capable of doing this today? And then are you worried about what others say about you? I know that's become one of my affirmations, actually, is that people do want to hear what I have to say. I have a lot of untruths about me and this small community, and I have to flip those and turn those into positive affirmations. You really need to look at who you spend time with. So one thing that she mentioned was, to be the person that you want to be, you have to surround yourself with those same type of people, no matter what it is in life. If you're on a diet and you have friends that, say your goal is to lose 60 pounds in a year, and you have friends that want to go out to have wings and beer and have a good time, that's not necessarily who you're wanting to be. So you have to make decisions to stay on the path of who you want to be in life. So for me, I do want to be the person that is a reflection upon my team, on the activities that I do, on the books that I read, on who I am and how I care for them and things of that nature. And so really, it comes down to what we allow in our gates, right? And so Kelly considered our eyes and our ears our gates. What we see and what we listen to really do affect who we are and how we come about in life, and who we portray ourselves to be, and who we build ourselves up to be. I know that before Plexus, this chick was a reality TV junkie. And I'm talking about stuff that would stress me out while I was watching it. And I no longer do those. I no longer watch those shows. Just recently, there were a few reality, or let's see, what was that? Real Housewives? Yeah, Beverly Hills, Dallas. I loved that drama for some reason. But I just had to delete the recording from even coming up on our DVR, because it was not filling me full of positivity. It was making me feel stressful, and it creates envy and all kinds of ugly feelings. And so one of the things that I want to talk to you about with positive affirmations was, Jeannie's always said, do your positive affirmations, do your positive affirmations. And I have kind of cheated on them, I think. I just kind of gained some generic ones and used them, and none of them really moved me. I still didn't feel like I was worthy of a lot of the things that I was saying in the mirror. And so Kelly had mentioned that our thoughts and our brain are like muscles, and the more you work them out, the stronger they become. And so the more you think a good thought, it's going to make you stronger. But the more your brain can actually hear the thought, it is going to eventually sink into where you truly do feel that way. So one of the things I guess we never went over and why I didn't know how to create affirmations was because I'd never gone down to the basics of like, how do you do it? I have no idea how to do it. And so Kelly's suggestion was to make a list of every negative thought, lie, untrue belief that I speak to myself. And that was a good 15 to 20-minute session that I did last week. And you all know I cry, and I cried because it was deep. There were parts that I didn't want to go into, but I needed to. And it's hard to see those things on paper that you feel about yourself, you know? And so it was pretty neat because after that, she has you on a separate piece of paper put the opposite of that lie or that untruth, whatever it may be. And those are now going to be your positive affirmations. And they don't have to all be plexus related, obviously. Some of mine are that I know I can be a better mom. I have worked my whole life and have just used work as an excuse to not fill in being a good mom. I guess I've always just used that as an excuse to get away from having to sit down and play when it's not easy for me to sit down and play, you know? And I am afraid of success, actually. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm good at failure, believe me, I'm awesome at failure, but success scares me. And so one thing that I truly want is I want to touch people's lives. I want people to remember that I made them feel a special way, you know, and yet the people in my own home may not feel that because I've been so busy on other areas of my life that maybe haven't been so important. And so it's been really cool. For the last week, without fail, I look in the mirror and there have been times when I feel like I'm looking through myself. It's weird. I don't know if you've done it yet, but I feel like I'm looking through myself and saying the affirmation. And I actually have to like refocus my brain to talk to me and not look through myself, but to actually talk to myself and program my brain to believe the greatness that I do know is within me. It's just digging deep and feeling that that is possible. So one of the things is the final thing that I just have to say, mine's kind of short, but if I am not investing in myself daily, I can't expect my team to, and I can't expect them to be the best that they can be if I am not the best that I can be either. And one thing that just hit me really hard was we can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so my cup has to be full to be able to pour into others. And that's what I'm on a mission to do. And if you guys really haven't taken your positive affirmations seriously, it's pretty cool exercise to do and pretty freeing. So anyways, that was my take on it. Go ahead, Shayna.
Thanks. So I was really excited as well to basically go for one. And I was like, I don't even know really who Kelly is, other than the fact that I've seen her a few times and obviously reading her posts and stuff. So I was really excited to meet her. And then kind of just go with Libby and see what this is all about. And I was really impressed, like Liberty would mentioned, the first few parts just talking about identity. I really connected with that, knowing, you know, finding out who you are, how to give yourself the best you know, learning how to actually fill your own cup. This was really enlightening to me. And then some of the things that I really wanted to touch on were, I'm really good at this. I like to dream. I am a big dreamer. I always have crazy ideas. My husband's like, you need to chill out, lady. Like, you have way too many ideas. So I'm constantly having ideas, but it comes down to like the finishing of them. And Kelly really talked about this. She talked about how she's a good starter, but she wasn't like the best finisher. So what I want to really focus on is how to dream. So what some of the things she actually pulled up, and I really like this, is she said, dreaming, like put your dreams to the test. And she had 10 questions that we went through. And this was a really long block of our time. So I'm only going to focus on like 2 of the questions that she asked. And she said, why can't people dream? You know, when you think about that yourself. And when I'm talking about dream, of course you lay down at night because you're taking your Mega X, right? And your ProBio, and you're totally dreaming. But why can't people really dream? You know, what are the big dreams when you were little? The sky was the limit when we were little, right? You could just make anything. You could do anything. It didn't matter. You just thought of it and it was like, I'm going to go do this. Well, she said that most people can't dream is because they're discouraged by others and or afraid of what other people might say. There may be past disappointments that we have. And I thought that was very true as well. And then we're just settling for average, you know, like, okay, I can just get up, I can go to work every day, I can just do my job, and I'm okay with that. I'm just fine with being average. And then she said lack of confidence. These are some high levels that she mentioned, or things where people feel like they can't dream. And these really kind of stuck out to me because I can see myself falling into a few of these categories around the finishing part of my dreaming. And then people in my life where I'm like, oh, I know some of this stuff has just held them back because I can see their potential and I know they can go for it and they just aren't going for it. So 2 of the questions that I want to focus on is really ownership. And she asked this, so I'm going to be looking at my notes. So apologize if I'm looking down. So one of them was, do I own my dream? And I had to kind of think about this one for a minute for one. Then I was like, well, what has my dream changed into? Because I think as we kind of go through life, we end up changing what we want to be doing or where we want to focus our time. And she asked the question, do I own my dream? And am I willing to bet on myself? And that really goes back to kind of what Liberty was talking about earlier. Like, are you securing your own identity to be able to dream in order to own it and to secure it and to move forward in it? And I really, really liked this part, and I had to write it down. She said the words have, do, and be. And I'm like, ooh, everybody wants to have something, and then they will do it, and then they will become this, right? Like, so I want to have lots of money, you know, this will make me like this, and then I'll be like this. And she kind of turned that around and said, no, you've got to be it so that you can do it, so then you can have it. And I was like, ooh, that was deep. That really struck me. And that to me goes back to your dream. Be your dream, live it, then you'll start doing it, and then you'll have what you want. You know, that's where the freedom comes in. Whatever it is that you're dreaming about doing, do it. You know, be it, do it, have it. I thought that was really cool. So she asked these really neat things. I'm going to show you if this will pull up really quick. But the one thing that I really liked as a part of that first question, because we went through all these 10 questions, and then she did a comparison on each one of them and trying to figure out if you're actually, you know, do I own my dream? Well, I don't know if you can see this. I kind of took screenshots, like everybody was putting up their cameras and just taking like pictures of the slides. And she said, if you're living somebody else's dream, it won't fit, it'll weigh you down, it'll drain your energy, it'll put you to sleep, it'll take out of your strength zone. So it totally puts you outside of where you kind of just are in it and know what you're doing. It'll have it'll make it feel like you have to do it, you know, like, I gotta get up and go to work today, gotta drive that long drive. And it fulfills others. I really like this comparison. This really, really hit me. And then she said, if it's your dream, if you're living your dream, it'll feel right. It'll give you wings to fly. It'll fire you up in the morning, or just in general. It gets you going. Your passion starts igniting. You just want to do it. It'll keep you up at night. I found this to be true on a few things that I've been doing, even in my own personal life. Like, I will work hours upon hours on something that I absolutely love to do, but things that I don't necessarily want to do or others want me to do, I'm like, maybe not so much. And then she said, it'll take you out of your comfort zone. Your dream will take you right out of your comfort zone, not your strength zone, but out of your comfort zone. And then you are made to do it, and it fulfills you. And you could just really tell that Kelly had hit her dream. She was doing, as she was on stage, you could tell this was her thing. This is what she loves to do. She was in her groove. There was no stopping her. She was just very, very passionate about what she was teaching. And I thought that was actually really inspiring watching her. Okay, so some of the other things that happen to us when we don't dare to dream, or when we're not dreaming, is we compare ourselves to others. We get caught in what she calls a comparison trap. And I'm like, oh no, bear traps, right? This is so true in our lives. We get caught in these comparison traps. We become jealous of others and what they have, and we need to stop doing that. And I think these affirmations would help us. I know it'll help me as I kind of think about those things as I'm dreaming. I need to put these positive thoughts back in my mind and not compare myself to others, because you just get pulled back down and sucked back into that cycle again. And then she says that you should believe what nobody else does in your dream. It shouldn't matter what anybody else says. It shouldn't even matter what anybody else thinks about it. If you love it and it brings your passion out and it brings everything out in you that gets you going, don't worry about what other people say. You should believe in it when nobody else does. Okay, and then the last topic that I want to focus on, like I said, there's 10 of them, is clarity. And I like this one a lot, because this comes into me for the fact that I like to start things. I'm a big dreamer. Like I said, my husband's always like, chill, lady, you want to do all these things. This comes into finishing. She said, clarity, one of the questions was, do I clearly see my dream? I think a lot of us, I like to daydream. Maybe it's my ADD, maybe it's my yellow personality, but I'm totally a like, whoo, all the way out here. And maybe the strategic and the planning part doesn't necessarily line up for me. So I really liked how she honed in on this piece of it. And she said, your dream has to be specific and it has to be clear. I mean, you have to define those things, right? Because we can dream big, but we've got to have a plan and we've got to have a goal to get to it. These were some huge ahas for me. And I'm like, dude, I've been in corporate world for like 18 years. How is this like an aha moment for me? So she said, you have to be uniformed, and you have to be very uninformed is when it's not clear, and obviously not clear is when it's not clear. So the clarity is something that you need to focus on when you're talking about your dreams. And she mentioned the things that you should work on, specifically asking yourself these questions. What fires me up? What gets me feeling excited? What gets me smiling? What brings out my talents and my passions? And then she said, you know, if it's something where it's just general, you got to set goals. You can't just have it. These are all probably things that you guys have already heard and we've all heard 1,000 times, but you need to set goals, that they're tangible goals. And then reality actually kicks in after that. And then you need to manage your goals daily. So I'm really liking the fact that we're doing the IPA challenges. These things are coming in for me, and they're really happening on a daily basis for me, so that I am becoming more accountable on a daily basis, so that I can actually hit my goals, hit my targets, hit where I really need to be, and it hones the whole thing in for me. It's not just something flighty out here in left field that I'm shooting for. I actually have a target, and I can do these things in order to hit it. So some of the other questions that she went over, and maybe we can cover them eventually, is she talked about reality, passion, a pathway, people that you have around you, the cost of obtaining your goal, tenacity. I really like that one, because one, that's an awesome word for sure. And then do your dreams and your give you fulfillment, and then the significance. So I just wanted to touch on those two of them, because like I said, this was a big, huge like break in our entire session. This one was very, very long, and we had a lot of slides and we went through a lot of material. But those two I felt like were probably your two main ones that would be focused on, because for me, I'm a big dreamer, but I needed to kind of drill down, like, what is it that I want to do? What are my dreams and what are my passions? What are things that I want to achieve? And then going into the clarity of it, like, Do I believe it? Can I see it? How can I attain it? And putting a goal to it. So that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys.
I just want to add one more thing that I just found in my notes that was towards the end of the session. It was called the Rule of 5. And some of you know that I've had a pretty hard couple of months, and I stopped doing a lot of my IPAs, and a lot of my daily actions, and my business has been affected by it. The Rule of 5 is if you would go every day to a large tree and take 5 swings at it with a very sharp axe, eventually, no matter how large that tree is, it would have to come down. And so no matter how big your dream is, even though you don't feel like you're going anywhere, just make progress every single day. And that's why I think our IPA group is doing so awesome. If you're not a part of it, message one of us and let us know you want to be a part of it. It's pretty neat to see some people that have been with us for quite some time actually having some improvement in their business and their conversations, and we give each other great ideas. Summer Glenn gave me one, and I have 120 plus contacts right now just from one post that I made. And it's been awesome. It's been super, super awesome. And so just don't ever give up. Keep pushing forward towards your dream and really find out what your dream is so that you do have a good goal to work towards, and it makes you feel good, and it's something that you want to progress towards. But thanks for listening, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, ladies. That was awesome. I took a whole bunch of notes. Loved it. I've been super excited, and I have to tell you guys a funny story because Kelly Norman had actually messaged me. She voice messaged me. She said, Jeannie, I was scrolling through Facebook, and she said, and she saw the graphic, and she saw her face and thought, oh my gosh, was I supposed to be on the team call? So she was so excited that both of you were doing this. So she couldn't wait to hear how it was, how it went. She's really thankful that both of you were going to pour into us. So thank you guys for doing that. And it's kind of ironic too. I just have to touch on this really quick. A lot of kind of what Shayna said. Scott and I, we had a lot of time this weekend because we didn't have the boys. So it's amazing how much time you have to talk to your spouse when you don't have the little monkey boys running around, you know? But we talked a lot about that on, it is so crazy for us and how you still get back in that mindset of the 9-to-5 job. And, you know, you think about dreaming big, but we didn't grow up like that. You know, Scott and I worked hard for everything we have, and that's how we always want it. That's how we want our boys to do it too. But you still feel weird dreaming big and you know, and visualizing that we can do this. And that was a huge conversation we had of, you know, we have that freedom coming up, you know, that we can do this. Where do we see ourselves? Just like Shayna said, you know, where do we see ourselves in the future? And what do we want? And it just like hit Scott and I like, how? So exciting and scary kind of at the same time. Like Libby said, you do have that fear of success, and that goes along with it. What do you do? Where do you start? You know, but it is so amazing when you start putting that dream down and you visualize it, and just like you said, but you have to take those steps to do it. And that was something that we talked about a lot this weekend on what we want to do. So that's just kind of ironic because everything I was like, oh my gosh, you guys like must have known what I was thinking all weekend. So thank you for that. Thank you for pouring into us, you guys. All right. Anybody have any? Yes. Thank you, Michelle, Shannon. And I know you guys had some other great, Tina and Marilyn. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. All right, ladies. Well, and do we have any men on here tonight? No, just all the ladies. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks again for joining. Libby, Shayna, thank you again so much.